The Chicago Bulls couldn't have planned this any better. While we've seen the response from Josh Giddey on social media as he's knee deep in contract negotiations with the Chicago Bulls, it looks like the Bulls have shown their hand and shown that they are willing to play the long game when it comes to Josh Giddey and his contract. Hello, my name is Isaias Jackson Jr. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Bulls Digest. We got to get into all the news and notes into Josh Giddey potentially not seeing that $30 million a year price tag that he was looking for and what that could mean for the Chicago Bulls as well. However, 67.5% of you guys are not subscribed. 32.5% of you guys are. We appreciate you guys on both sides of the field. And look, it is a really, really nice day outside, and sicknesses is everywhere. I was going to work this morning and everybody just sneezing, coughing, hacking up a storm. And trust me, that's the last thing you want to do is come home to sicknesses and illness. You want to come home and watch YouTube and watch us. So hit that subscribe button, like and share. It's also, look, a good luck charm. I promise you, you will be in good hands. You will feel 10 times better hitting that subscribe button. And thank you guys so much for tuning into Bulls Digest. Bulls, Josh Giddey, not expected to get the $30 million contract from Chicago. And look, we want Josh Giddey back in a Chicago Bulls uniform. The Bulls want Josh Giddey back in a Chicago Bulls uniform. Just add a cheaper price tag, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong, in an instance. I don't think anybody thinks that's necessarily wrong. Josh Giddey has been linked to a $30 million per year contract extension and rumors for almost a year, but it sounds like that might not be where the Chicago Bulls and their do-everything guard ends up in negotiation. Bulls beat reporter Casey Johnson shared thoughts recently on a local broadcast about where that number has come from. He goes on to say, I don't have particular numbers other than to say that Josh Giddey's $30 million per year price tag, that's been well documented in media and out there since last fall when the rookie's contract extension was discussed, has not ever crossed my radar. I have never heard the Bulls mention that number, so I wouldn't expect Josh Giddey to sign a $30 million deal. So, of course, the $30 million deal has always been out there in the ether, and, of course, with Josh Giddey's play, and, of course, you're paying for the potential of Josh Giddey as well. You're paying for the future. We do believe that Josh Giddey is the future point guard for the Chicago Bulls, so, of course, you're going to be looking to invest in that man. But $30 million was always coming out in the forefront. We've heard it come from Josh Giddey's team as well. However, I haven't heard too much said come from the Chicago Bulls case at all, which, of course, also says a lot, meaning that Josh Giddey might not be seeing that $30 million, especially with Kobe White's contract coming up in the next year and him not wanting to potentially sign a contract for less than $100 million, a contract extension for less than $100 million. So, of course, you have that to work with as well. And you just don't want to jump the gun. As we talked about before, you paid Patrick Williams too early and he just never progressed. And that's something that you just don't want to do in that instance. You saw the work that Josh Giddey's put in. You've seen his work ethic. And on top of that, you've seen him improve as the year went on. So even though the Chicago Bulls know that there's a lot at stake there in terms of Josh Giddey and what he brings to a team, you still want to be cautious, in the forefront. And of course, the Australian star is in a similar boat as Jonathan Kuminga with the Warriors. Both are talented players, but restricted free agents, and the RFA market has progressed at a snail's pace this offseason. If offer sheets don't come in from elsewhere, it really crushes the negotiation power of guys like Giddey and Kuminga, and in that case, it does seem like Chicago could get a discount and get Giddey for less than a widely speculated number, and I think that's what hurts there, because we talk about it a lot. Like we were going over what teams had the most cap space, and pretty much the only team that has been out on the forefront has been the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, of course, are a team with at least enough cap space to be intrigued and be interested in somebody like a Josh Giddey and offer him a contract. Will they do that? Has it done? Well, we haven't seen that yet. It hasn't happened yet. And so with Josh Giddey pretty much sitting here playing the waiting game, of course, that $30 million is going to go farther and farther away from you, of course. And with you not getting an offer sheet, yeah, of course, that kind of ruins everything and it ruins your plans as it's all said and done in Josh Giddey's case. So when you're seeing it all right here on the forefront, the best thing for the Chicago Bulls to do is to play the long game. You want to stay patient here. Of course, Josh Giddey, you're going to be looking around for an offer sheet. You want the Chicago Bulls to match that offer. You could get the best deal possible if you look around. However, the phone's not ringing. And I think that's what's, and this it says it right there, hurts Josh Giddey the most. Of course, an amazing facilitator. The guy is just an absolute dog on the floor. And of course, you want to bring him back on the team so you could keep that Kobe White, Josh Giddey tandem for at least this year, for what you're seeing here. But for the Chicago Bulls to not jump on the Josh Giddey contract and to not hurry up and give him the $30 million and see it if you could get him at a cheaper price, I do think it helps a whole lot for the Chicago Bulls. You're going to bring in some talent as well. You just signed Trey Jones as well. With some money that you have there, Vucevic is still, well, now with trade talks have definitely died down, but you're still having Nikola Vucevic on the market. Do you have Patrick Williams on the market? Is Patrick Williams going to be gone when it's all said and done? So the Chicago Bulls could definitely still be intact to make some money moves here in this offseason. And of course, that can also lead to the contract for Kobe White next season, just trying to maneuver things as they go on. But you're seeing this team being built, not only on the youth, but of course the potential of the youth as well. Ayo we got a phone call from the Los Angeles Lakers. Not we, but the Chicago Bulls got a phone call from the Los Angeles Lakers about Ayo. And of course, he's still in the Chicago Bulls uniform. Doesn't look like he's going to be on the move anytime soon, but his contract is expiring next year. And so you're seeing all this come together. The Chicago Bulls have the youth. You would wish you were in an OKC situation, right? You're seeing everybody, from Chet Holmgren. You're seeing Jalen Williams. Of course, they're getting the $280-something million. They're getting the contract extensions. They're getting paid. And the Chicago Bulls, they have that stake in Josh Giddey. They're going to pay the man. And of course, him being a restricted free agent, you're just trying to save up as much money as you can. Just going into the graphics right here. Josh Giddey, 14.6 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 7.2 assists per game, shooting 46% from the field, and of course 37% from the three-point line. And of course, that's one thing that I really, really love with Josh Giddey. 22 years old, he's gonna come back and he's going to give you buckets. He's gonna improve. The tandem of him and Montes Buzelis, and of course, you have Kobe White as well on the forefront. This is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Of course, we didn't see too much of them until the very tail end of the season last year when they finally picked up the pace and we saw some consistency there. But we see Josh Giddey, he just makes the team gel. I think Josh Giddey just makes the team so much better. And of course, that's an obvious statement there, but he's just a guy that you need to have on your team. And if you're going to get him for cheap so you can save up a little bit of money and see what talent you could bring in free agency, then by golly, you got to get that job done. You got to get that job. But of course, the main goal into all this is to make sure Josh Giddey is in a Bulls jersey when it's all said and done. What's the price tag going to be? It looks like we're going to find out soon enough. But do you like the Chicago Bulls playing the long game with Josh Giddey? Or do you think this is taking forever? Do you want them to just pay him right now on the forefront and then just see what you could get as we build on from the roster in terms of trade acquisitions and so on and so forth? Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.